Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Cottage Studios. So welcome to the Ho-Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. And I tell you what, we've got quite a bit to talk about. We're going to be talking about my note paper. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Rittenhouse trial. Not a whole heck of a lot, since we did do a previous episode on that. I'm not going to rehash an old show. We're also going to be talking about the Project Veritas, FBI seizing stuff regarding the diary of President Biden's daughter. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the Steele Dossier, the little bit on CRT, and we're also going to be discussing a little bit about these vax mandates and some of the stuff that's been going on there. But first, you guys know how I like to kind of start the show. You know, y'all know I like to go a little bit light in the beginning before we really get into, you know, the heavy stuff. And today is no different. I am a fan of the Babylon Bee, a news website. And yes, I'm using air quotes on that, but sometimes they come up with some pretty hilarious headlines. And this one is no different. Biden to propose oil pipeline to carry illegal immigrants. Holy crap, I got into this. This is out of Lansing, Michigan. As fuel prices skyrocket across a country already dealing with porous and insecure borders, the Biden administration confirmed that it will shut down an oil pipeline in Michigan so that it can be repurposed to carry illegal immigrants into the heart of America. Critics question whether the Biden administration decision to decrease the availability of gas while increasing the flow of illegal immigrants is a good decision. But those people are racist, according to experts. We were told by MSNBC just this morning that inflation is actually a good thing, said Press Secretary Jen Psaki. That's why this new migration pipeline will be good for America in both increasing gas prices as well as helping voters or immigrants start a new life in America. When asking if allowing mass illegal immigration is a desperate attempt to increase potential Democrat voters following the wave of defeats from the 2021 election in states like Virginia, Psaki clarified that the sole purpose of the pipeline was to help immigrants and that the pipeline's name, Voters for 2022 XL, was just circumstantial. The Biden administration has also announced plans to dump shipping containers into the ocean and repurpose the empty cargo ships for transporting illegal immigrants up to Canada so they can ride the newly repurposed pipeline. And yes, like I said, this is all satire. But, there's been a handful of other articles, one of which I know that I actually did throw into the show because it was that stinking amazing. It was the horse protest that was in D.C. And I thought that was hilarious. And this one, I thought that was pretty stinking hilarious too. Repurposing a pipeline to, illegal. Here's one of the things that made it funny to me. Okay, this is one of the things that made it absolutely hilarious because I didn't just read the article. I didn't just look at the headline and chuckle. No, that's not what happened. I read the article and I got a visual on, people getting piped through the pipeline. And I'm like, oh, that's funny. I got to talk about this one. I mean, to me, it was hilarious. It was all about the mental imagery, the visualization that went along with it. And that's the part that just it was absolutely hilarious to me. So we're going to go from Michigan on over to, holy crap, the name of it, just whatever. Anyway, this headline from dailymail.com. Scottish government to put tampons and sanitary towels in male toilets in case they are needed by transgender civil servants. Now, I tell you what, whenever I first read this one, I was like, I wonder how long before something like this actually comes to America. These type of measures are being done. However, I am going to ask, anybody that may be looking to do this type of stuff down here in America, please don't put urinals in the women's bathroom. Just please don't. Okay, because that's really going to screw a lot of guys up. I mean, it really is, because, let's just face it. If you accidentally walk into the wrong bathroom, one of the first signs that you're in the wrong bathroom is you look over at the wall once you're around the corner and there's no urinals. I mean, that's a pretty telltale sign that you're not in the correct bathroom. And it is bound to happen. I tell you what, I've walked into the wrong bathroom more than once. I hate to say, but it's absolutely true. But here's the thing. I mean, you go into a lot of these different places of business that you patron, whether it be a truck stop, whether it be a grocery store, whether it be, a chain, department store, what have you, they kind of set most of them up pretty much the same. And a lot of places, they kind of position things the same. A lot of places do. And so, whenever you walk into these places, and I know that I've been guilty of it, you just kind of walk in there with your head down and you're not really paying all that much attention, and I walked into such a bathroom where I wasn't paying enough attention to which one I was going to. I was operating on autopilot completely. I thought my feet knew where they were going. Apparently I was wrong on that and I walked into the wrong stinking bathroom. Turned the corner and it's like, I don't see no urinals. I must be in the wrong bathroom. I turned around, stepped out, looked on the door. Sure enough, I was. So I, went into the correct one, went about my business, and, there you go, end of the story, And this one time, it was absolutely hilarious. I was in a truck stop, and again, these places, they all kind of, especially whenever you're going into a chain, they all kind of follow the same type of positioning as to where they put their restrooms. You can kind of go into there on autopilot. Well, I was following a lady that apparently she didn't really like me following her. And she walked into the bathroom, which was the same one that I was actually walking into. And, as I, crossed the threshold, I paused because then it registered in my mind what just happened. Holy crap, there was a woman that just went into the men's bathroom. Normally, it's just kind of a whatever. But this one kind of gave me pause because she didn't look like somebody who, look, we all do it. You see certain things and you're just like, yeah, okay, what's going on here? You kind of predetermine a little bit, So I was like, okay, well, this doesn't look like somebody who's a transgender. Maybe I'm going into the wrong bathroom. So I look at the door and it said male, and I really sat back and contemplated for a few seconds on, just standing there and waiting for her to come back out again. I mean, that was a gentlemanly thing to do. But my bladder stepped in and said, excuse me, you can't do that to me. You can't stand right outside the men's bathroom. Now I really got it. I didn't have to go that bad before, but you don't want to stop all that often. And so it's like, hey, I take the opportunity when it comes. It's like, holy crap, I really got to go now. So I'm like, I stood there, I waited for a few seconds, and I'm like, okay, I'm going in. So I went in, and it was kind of one of them things that we got our business done at about the same time. And she walked out in front of me, and I seen her eyeball the door or eyeball the wall and see the sign on there, and it was kind of like, hey, crap, I went into the wrong one. That's what she was, that wasn't me. That was her. She walked into the wrong bathroom, not I did, because there was urinals on the wall. I paid attention. I knew where they were at. And hello, Machine over there in YouTube land. He says, Trucker, no, this wasn't one of those. This wasn't a bomb. We don't do those. Truckers don't do bombs like that. No. That wouldn't be prudent. That wouldn't be right at all. All right, moving on, guys. I got another article that, this one, I tell you what, this article actually came from the Blaze. Okay. And I read this one and Machine, you're going to get a kick out of this one because this actually very much cracked me up whenever I read this. It really did. Let me get into it. This headline: brothel in Austria offers customers who receive COVID-19 shots on site free 30-minute Sonic Club sessions with lady of their choice. And I read this article, and of course, I'm like, well, that's one way to get people to do it. I mean, heck, if it was something like that, I would consider getting the COVID shot. Why not? I mean, come on. This was absolutely hilarious whenever I read this. It really was. It cracked me up. Talk about an incentive to get the COVID shot. He put in here, he goes, I'm participating in the global warming initiative. I've set half the neighborhood on fire. Oh, yeah? Had to, let's go and just tell them we did. So yes, what a way to incentivize people to get the COVID shot. Now, we are going to be talking a little bit about the, not necessarily as much on the COVID, a little bit, but we are going to be talking about the vaccine mandates here in, a segment coming up a little later. I don't know. All right, continuing on. Now, this one, okay, this headline, this is from Fox 13 Tampa Bay. All right, and check your phone shortly. Okay. All right, I'll check my phone. I'll do that on the next break. So anyway, I seen this headline and I had to chuckle because this is something that, I know I have talked about. I don't want to say joked about it. It's I've talked about something that I was very serious upon doing. And I am actually pretty excited to see that somebody is actually doing this. And I'm sure you, Brandon, over there on the Machine Radio Show, I'm sure that you have had similar, what's the word? Similar thoughts. I'm sure that you have. So this headline: DeSantis floats sending migrants to Delaware in response to Biden admin's migrant flights to Florida. So like I said, yes, this is something, you sent me a pic, you got me curious. Now I'm like, what is, yeah, you are setting stuff on fire, ain't you? Yeah, you're definitely setting stuff on fire. I am not watching a video. What is that? Oh, Dave's doing that. That's awesome. That's awesome, Dave. Glad to see you over there, by the way. That's pretty cool. Oh, Dave put that in there. Well, hi, Dave, over there in YouTube land. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, I know this is something that I've joked about in the past, with, all these illegal immigrants getting, sent from, hither and yon, to various places. And, just why not send them back or send them over to the places of the people whom seem to be hell-bent on allowing them to come here in the first place. This is something that I know I have joked about. And I'm fairly certain that Brandon has talked about this too. I mean, this is just one of them things that, I love this idea. I think this is an amazing idea. This is how we should do it. If they want them over here so bad, instead of allowing them to go to, red areas, red states going into our backyard, why not put them in their backyard? And hello, Josh over there in YouTube land. He says, what's up, ho-ho? Not much, man. How you doing? But yeah, why not put them in their backyard? If they're the ones who are, wanting to ignore, immigration laws, if they're the ones that are going to, put them on a bus, put them on a plane, and just send them wherever they want to send them in order to accomplish whatever mission they're wanting to accomplish with redistributing them, I had to put the emphasis in the correct place, with putting them in places where they're wanting them, why not send them to their own backyard? That just makes perfect sense to me. They want them here. Hey, then you take them. I would be happier if they just go into their houses, but that's beside the point. Moving on. This article, now I tell you what, this article, I read this, and this is actually the second such article that I have seen regarding this. And I tell you what, this actually does give me a little bit of pause. Let me go ahead and get into the headline from CNN Business. Elon Musk ends the week selling another 1.2 billion of Tesla shares. Now, like I said, guys, this is not the first article that I have seen of Elon Musk selling off, in my terms, a significant amount of shares. Okay, this is not the first time. This is actually the second time I've seen him doing that. But he's not actually the only person, a rich individual that I have seen selling off significant portions of, their stocks or, what have you. I've actually seen this from, Bezos maybe, was it? Several months back, I think there was an article about him selling off, quite a bit of shares. And I think there was somebody else around the same time frame, but I tell you what, this is something. Now, I don't usually get into a lot of, financial stuff, as far as, playing around in the stock market, what have you. I generally don't get into that area because, dude, I tell you what, I dabble, in the stock market. I really do. I have fun with it. I dabble with it, make a little bit, lose a little bit, what have you. I'm up, by the way. So, but I don't really give that kind of advice. I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination. But to see people of significant amount of wealth moving around this kind of money gives me pause. It really does. And it's definitely one of them things because, hey, regardless of what you may think of the man, Elon Musk, Bezos, these are people whom, they kind of know what they're talking about as far as, business and investments and things like that. Elon Musk is not a dumb individual. The man's got some intelligence. Yeah, Machine put in there, he goes, about to sell what I have, only worth like $50. I actually kind of doubled my money in a short amount of time. Absolute luck. This isn't anything that I, did some serious, research into, but I, luck of the draw, I ended up doubling my money in I think 2 months. And I thought that was actually kind of cool, but anyway, Elon Musk, he's not an idiot. He's really not. He he knows what he's doing. This man is of some intelligence. He knows what he's doing, and to see somebody like him selling off this kind of money. Now, here's the thing, okay? We don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really even read the article, but I mean, that's the thing. How much is the article really going to tell you besides what, Elon Musk actually wants somebody to know, so I haven't really read the article. I don't know what's going on, but here's one of the things. All right. There was a stock market stumble back in, I'm wanting to say October of 1987, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was October. I might be off on my month, but I'm pretty positive it was in 1987. All right, a little stock market stumble. Not a crash. It was a hiccup. Okay. Now the history books told you one thing on what happened. Okay, the history books told you one thing. It gave you a story as far as what happened, what caused it, yada, yada, blah, blah, nothing to worry about. We fixed the issue. It's not going to happen again. We've put, whatever in place that we've needed to ensure that it doesn't happen again, yada, yada, blah, blah. Well, I happen to get an inside scoop from my father about what had actually happened. And what it amounted to was, an individual who had a significant amount of wealth was, pulling his money out, not really pulling his money out of the stock market. He was moving his money around. And people that really wasn't paying attention to what was going on, that was only paying attention to one aspect of it, the pullout, but not paying any attention as to what they were actually doing, not looking at the full picture, there was a freak out that happened, and that's what actually caused the stock market to stumble. Now, because I want you to, I want a point to be put on this, that yes, the stock market stumbled, had a significant enough of a hiccup, a stumble that, mainstream media decided that they, maybe we should put a spin on this that doesn't make us sound completely stupid, ignorant, and incompetent in what it is that we're doing. So that's when they decided to spin the tail. That's what happened. But the stock market stumbled because one guy moved money around and people wasn't paying attention as to what they were actually doing. So yes, this does give me pause to see somebody of Elon Musk's caliber taking money out. But that might only be half the story. Who knows what he's actually doing? But it still gives me pause. What's going on? What's on the horizon? Why is it he's moving money out? Because he wouldn't be doing this if this doesn't give him some type of financial gain in some way, shape, or form. Now, I didn't actually intend on going down this direction with this article. I really didn't. But here's one of the things that they're talking about doing as far as taxes that they are looking at imposing on people, and that is what's that word they used on this? We talked about this. I think I talked about this a little bit on last week's episode. The unrealized gains tax. Yes, that's what it was. The unrealized gains. This could also be a move that Elon Musk is making to help shield him from this tax. It very much could be. Again, I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I'm not sure. It could be. It may not be. Only Elon Musk really knows, and I'm sure his people that help him out in the money markets, I'm sure these people know what's going on. Moving on. Now, this article, yeah, okay, we'll go ahead and talk about this here. This kind of goes in a different direction, of which case this is actually coming, I'm going to be talking about this in the next segment. But this headline from Hot Air. Andrew Sullivan, the media keeps getting things wrong and all the errors are in the same direction. Now, there's quite a few different things that John Sexton whom is the author of said article, talks about in this article. But one of the things that he's talking about is, let me just go ahead and read a little bit in it. This isn't really new ground. Both Ed and I have written about the media's responsibility. Okay, I read that right. For the false beliefs many people have about the Rittenhouse trial this week. So the arguments in the first half of this piece will be familiar to many readers. I won't rehash them again, except to say that the media's coverage of the Rittenhouse shooting was often badly misleading, as was the coverage of the shooting of Jacob Blake, and both errors have significant consequences that we're seeing play out right now. And he couldn't be more accurate in that, because this is something that we see as conservatives, as Republicans, as libertarian, as people on the right. This is something that we see all the time. And that is mischaracterizations, misrepresentations, the mainstream media, people on the right, people on the left, even people like in the Kyle Rittenhouse case, the president of the United States, completely going off the rail and just throwing stuff out there in order to promote a narrative. We see that all the time. And one of the things that he is talking about in this article, whenever they seem to get things wrong, it always errs on the same direction. It always errs to favor the left. It always happens. I mean, this is something that, is nothing new. And in fact, this is the whole entire reason while new media, alternative media, that's why shows like this, shows like the Machine Radio Show, shows that are out there everywhere, that's why they have been gaining so much traction, is because people are hungry for truth. And they know that they're not going to get that from mainstream media. They know they're not going to get that from CNN, MSNBC, CBS. They know they're not going to get it from mainstream media. They know that the only way they're going to get truth is to go outside mainstream media into alternative media. They know this. It's no secret. That's why we do what we do. That's why we put ourselves out there. That's why we do the research that we do. That's why we do our best to try to, give you the news and give you truth. I mean, look, I'm not going to call myself a journalist. I'm not going to call myself that because, the fact of the matter is I am a constitutional conservative with libertarian leanings. Yes, I am. My purpose here is to sway you, but I'm not going to lie to you to do that. I don't have to. Because everything that's going on is pretty stinking clear. I don't have to lie to you to give you the truth. I really don't. And I'm not going to, There are some things that I, talked bad about with Trump whenever he screwed up doing things. But I mean, the bottom line is when you're talking Trump's presidency, we're going to touch base on this a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. But most of the problem that people had with Trump wasn't about anything that Trump did. It was about his Twitter feed. It was about mean tweets. Oh, he hurt my feelings. That's what it was about. It wasn't about what the man actually did. I mean, whenever you actually, talk about what he actually did, his policies, the things that did affect our everyday lives, these things nobody had any issues with, or at least the citizenry didn't have any issue with. The left may have had issue with it. The politicians may have had some huge issues with it. The Republicans had even bigger issues with it because, one of the things that President Trump did, and he did this geniusly, by the way, is he proved that you can fight. And if you fight, you can win. Why the Republicans, during the first 2 years of his presidency, didn't do more to advance the Republican agenda, I have no idea. But the bottom line is, I mean, let's just be honest, guys. Let's just be completely honest. Let's throw it all out there. Most people who call themselves Republicans aren't actually Republicans. They're Romney Republicans. That's to say that they're Rhino Republicans. Republicans in name only. If somebody who had any integrity was actually in charge of the RNC, they would remove the R from the name and make the person choose the representative who falsely flew the Republican flag, either go Democrat or go independent, but remove his R because they don't deserve to have it. And there's a lot of them that are in Congress, whether they be in the House of Representatives or whether they be senators. There's a lot of people out there that they don't deserve to fly that R. They don't deserve it. It needs to be removed from them. The people in the RNC, people whom are in control of the party, they need to take control of their party. And that's one of the things, because there's discussion. A lot of discussion that has been going around, third party. No, screw that. Do you guys actually understand what has to take place for a third party to really grab a hold? Okay, because here's the thing, guys. The DNC, the RNC, these are not functions of government. Okay, these are not, a function of government. This is a function of politics. These are privately owned companies. From top to bottom, you have two private companies that controls this entire nation from top to bottom. That's just a fact. Like it or hate it, doesn't matter. It is what it is. And you may vote for them, but that doesn't mean that they're beholden to you. They're beholden to their donors. They're beholden to the people who give them money, that pay for their campaigns, that put money in their pockets, that gives them the behind the scenes information. I mean, think about it. How much is Nancy Pelosi's husband worth? The answer is a lot. Why? Insider trading. Why is she still sitting in Congress with her husband making as much money as he is? How is she not in jail? How are both of them not in jail? Oh, yeah, that's right, because there's a different set of rules for everyday people, you and I, the masses, than politicians. They play by their own set of rules. Last time I checked, that's what privilege was. In my life, do I see white privilege? No. But I do see political privilege. If there wasn't political privilege, Hillary Clinton would be in jail. It's just a fact. She broke the law. Just the email scandal alone, having classified information on her hard drive, was illegal. It was a violation of law that carries a punishment of going to prison. Like her or hate her, I really don't care. That doesn't change the fact that she did break the law. It was verified. It was proven. And before you even want to comment on her intent, the law is written in such a way that it doesn't matter what her intent is. That doesn't have any bearing on her innocence or guilt. It doesn't weigh anything on it. It doesn't matter whether she intended to break the law or whether she didn't intend to break the law. She still broke the law, and her intentions don't mean anything. Just the way that it is. So yeah, there's privilege out there. Absolutely. Political privilege, because they operate under a different set of laws, under a different set of rules than what we are expected to operate on. And until the American people remember, not the 5th of November, but until we remember that we're the arbiters here. This is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. We are the ones that are in control. We don't have a top-down form of government. We have a bottoms-up form of government. I'm pretty sure there's a song written about that. Bottoms up, 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 up. There was. We're the ones whom are the navigators of this ship of government, you know. So if we take back our power that we have given to us by the Constitution, if we actually take back that power, then a lot of things can be fixed. You know, yes, you may be one, but you are one of we, and we do outnumber them. Those that want to stay in control, those whom are the Democrats, we do outnumber them. We're the silent majority. It's about time we start speaking up. It's about time we start getting loud. It's about time we start making our intentions heard and understood. That we're not going to take it. Man, I keep throwing song lyrics into this. Holy crap, that is not intentional. That's what we need to do. We ain't going to take this crap no more. We see what they're doing. One of the things that, you know, this whole COVID's and, you know, Biden and, you know, even to some degree, Barack Obama, one of the things that they did is they threw it in our face how much they actually do control, how much they actually do control us. I mean, they're throwing it in our face. You can't really hide away from it anymore. You can't be an ostrich with your head buried in the sand anymore. You can't do that because our lives directly has been affected across all of America. I mean, guys, we are reaching a time where we have, you know, some of the highest, the highest inflation rates that we have seen in 30 years. One of the highest, you know, gas prices are like, you know, if not the highest that they've ever been. It's pretty stinking high. I mean, guys, I tell you what, I'm a truck driver. Now, granted, this may not mean a whole heck of a lot to, you know, people who just drive four-wheelers, but I mean, dude, if I'm going into a place, you know, into a truck stop and I'm going to fill up my tanks, you're talking 220 gallons worth of fuel that I may pump into that thing. And if I am sitting on an eighth of a tank, and if I need DEF, stands for diesel exhaust fluid, which is basically urine. It's what it is. You know, it's ammonia and water. It's basically urine, and it smells as bad, if not worse. Other truck drivers out there can verify, yes, this is nasty stuff and it stinks. If I'm prepaying, I got to prepay for over $600. That's ridiculous. You know, if I'm running low on DEF and if I'm sitting at a quarter of a tank on diesel, I got to prepay that pump for over $600, $650. Otherwise, I'm not filling up my tanks. $650, you know, $600 ain't going to do it. $500 ain't going to do it. I'll put $500 in and I won't even fill up my diesel, let alone putting any DEF in. It's ridiculous out there. Okay. Price of food has gone to the highest point. And they're basically telling us right now, you know, just get used to the inflation. Just get used to it because it probably ain't going to go back down. And it wasn't, you know, one of the things that I heard was that is not going to come back down, you know, anytime soon. It was, just get used to the inflation. Get used to the higher prices because it ain't coming back down. There wasn't even that inkling of hope that was put on the other end of it. All right, guys, we're going to be moving on from here. We got a few more things to talk about. We are going to go ahead and slide into the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. We got some things to talk about on this. Again, I'm not going to be rehashing old shows. There was one that I released, I believe, on Thursday. Don't remember the actual date, but, you know, released one. So there was a lot of stuff that I went over on that, but we got a few things to talk about on there. Not a huge whole heck of a lot, but we got some things to talk about. So just a couple minutes, guys, and I will be right back. This is the Ho Ho Show. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. So, guys, I got a handful of articles here that I have pulled up. Sorry, my nose itched. Got a handful of articles I'm going to pull up, and there's going to be a few of them that's going to read out, and I will show those to you on the screen. I'm just kind of going through them right quick, just in case they've got any pop-ups that popped up, and I got to deal with those. I love pop-ups. That's sarcasm. Anyway, like I said, I do have a few that I am wanting to talk about, and then, yeah. So, and then, okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so this article from MRC Newsbusters, editors pick NR on CNN trying to smear Rittenhouse judge as racist. Kyle Rittenhouse's Call of Duty habit and post-arrest silence aren't evidence of his guilt. I talked about that on the is Kyle Rittenhouse going to get an apology from everyone? Probably not. But that article was from Reason. This article from USA Today, Kyle Rittenhouse, jury will consider some lesser charges in Wisconsin shootings. And here's what that means. And then this one from, I don't know, Newsmax. Judge in Rittenhouse trial receives threatening emails. And then, of course, there's this one. Left-wing commentators rush to condemn Rittenhouse judge as prosecution flanders. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and just get into some of these. So here's the thing with this one from MRC Newsbusters calling the judge racist. So here's what it amounts to, okay? The left has a narrative. They don't care about facts. What they care about is a narrative. They care about, how are they going to demonize the right today? How are they going to demonize guns? How are they going to demonize Republicans? How are they going to demonize us? That's what their thing is. That's what their question, their first and foremost question. How are they going to demonize us? And then they come up with a narrative to do just that. They don't care about the facts. The facts don't matter. If the thing plays out, and their narrative turns out to be wrong, well, all they do is just kind of twist it to where the judge is racist. They twist it to where, it's just white supremacy, which that one kind of makes me laugh, and here's why. Kyle Rittenhouse, white. Big surprise there, right? But the three people that he shot, well, they're white too. What? How can you claim that, not that, this article I know is talking about the judge being racist, but, they have thrown that same type of thing out at Kyle Rittenhouse as well, just because he was at a Black Lives Matter riot. I ain't calling it a protest. It was a riot. He was there to defend people's property. And because he was doing that, he's a racist regardless of the people that he shot being white. That somehow doesn't seem to matter because their narrative can't be questioned. It can't be argued. And this is a tactic that we see from the left all the stinking time. If they can't win the argument, they resort to a 2-year-old on the playground name calling. That's what they do all the stinking time. That's how you know that they've lost. That's how you know you've won. But that's also how you know that there ain't nothing more you can do on this. That's when you know that it just doesn't matter anymore. If they've resorted to name calling, they don't care about what you have to say. They're not interested in facts. They're not interested in truth. All they're interested in is a narrative, and all you can do is just give them the hand and turn around and walk away. That's all you can do with them people, unfortunately, but that's all it amounts to. This article, Kyle Rittenhouse's Call of Duty, get off there. Call of Duty habit and post-arrest silence are evidence of his guilt. Now, this is the thing. I got to laugh on this one. I talked a little bit about the silence isn't evidence of his guilt on the last episode or 2 episodes ago, on the Ho Ho Show. I talked about that, but this one, his Call of Duty habits, is actually something that cracked me up. Okay. Because it's what the prosecution was trying to do, was point out, kind of a frame of mind that Kyle Rittenhouse may or may not have been in. And he was using his online gameplay as evidence that Kyle Rittenhouse is a killer. That's more or less what it amounted to. Okay. And that was hilarious to me because it's like, it's a video game. But here's where I really wish, Kyle would have corrected the prosecution, because the prosecution, he was, he talked about, the gun that he had being an AR-15. And he talked about, well, isn't this the same type of gun that you use in Call of Duty? And Kyle Rittenhouse was like, yes, it is. But you do realize that this is just a game, right? You do understand that, there's a difference between killing somebody in a video game when they had the chance to respawn and killing somebody in real life whenever that's not an option. But me personally, I would have, I would have corrected the prosecution whenever he asked me, the AR-15 that you were carrying on you in Kenosha, Wisconsin, isn't this the same type of weapon that you use in Call of Duty? I would have told him no. Because in Call of Duty, we're more apt to use assault rifles. And an AR-15 is not an assault rifle. So no, I wasn't carrying the same type of weapon that I use whenever I'm playing Call of Duty. And last time I checked, I have never seen, I play Call of Duty. I've never seen an AR-15 in Call of Duty. I've never seen it. I have seen the military version of the civilian-made AR-15, but that is an assault rifle. It shoots in bursts. Not fully automatic, but that is still an assault weapon, an assault rifle. That I've used. But I have not seen, nor have I ever used, an AR-15 in Call of Duty. So no, it's not the same type of weapon that Kyle Rittenhouse uses in Call of Duty, because an AR-15 can't be used in Call of Duty. Just throwing that out there, guys. Just throwing that out there. If I'm wrong, correct me. I know Machine, might be in there still. And, he knows. He knows. I'm pointing at you. Yeah, you right there. You with the hair and the hat. I don't know. Are you wearing a hat right now? You might have a, never mind. Jay Lee, let's go, Brandon. And welcome over there in YouTube land. How you doing? So, all right, moving on, guys, moving on. This next one, Kyle Rittenhouse jury will consider some lesser charges in Wisconsin shooting. And here's what that means. Now, here's the thing, guys. I was actually, upon reading this headline from USA Today, I was actually kind of confused because last I knew, the charges that, the defendant was, brought to trial on, those were the prosecution's discretion to charge them with that. That wasn't necessarily something that the jury brought charges against or considered charges towards the defendant. That was something that was done by the prosecution. So to my knowledge, they're way off base on this headline as it is anyway. Now, I might be wrong. You know, I mean, maybe this is something that is acceptable in Wisconsin. I really don't know. But this was actually kind of confusing to me. So, I mean, if you have any information on this one, you know, feel free to let me know. Let me know in the comments. You know, email me that, hoho@thehohoshow.com. You know, feel free to do all that. But to my knowledge, that wasn't within the purview of what a jury did. You know, because the jury, you know, they took the charges. They took the evidence, the facts of the case, and is he guilty of what it is he's being charged with, yes or no? You know, if it's a no, then you're done, you're acquitted, you can't be charged with this again. That would be double jeopardy. Amazing movie, by the way. Had, who was in that? Tommy Lee Jones, excellent movie, good movie. And if you are found guilty, then, you know, the jury might, you know, do the, you know, the sentencing. But as far as changing the charges, that was, you know, last I knew, that was outside the purview of what the jury did. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe. So, here's this one. Newsmax. Now, this one I am very much not surprised about. I'm really not, okay? Because this is what the left does, you know, because there has been a lot of name calling. There has been, you know, a lot of pushback that mainstream media and people on the left have been giving the judge because of his conduct, because of, you know, him actually holding the prosecution accountable for the stupid crap that they're doing. They're calling him racist. They're even sending him, according to this Newsmax article, they're threatening him via emails. Now, what I'm kind of curious about is, you know, what's the level of these threats, and is anything actually going to happen to these people whom are threatening the judge in this Rittenhouse trial? That's what I'm kind of curious about. What's going to happen there? You know, because the fact of the matter is, you know, it seems to me as though it's okay if you want to threaten, if you want to poke fun of and make fun of and name call somebody who's on the right. But whenever you do the same to somebody on the left, they seem to have a whole different viewpoint on whether or not you can do that. That just seems to be the purview of what the left likes to do. They like to control the narrative. They like to not allow the same type of thing that they allow and accept and encourage from people on the left. So what's going to happen on this one? You know, are they actually going to track down? Are they going to use the FBI to track down the people that are sending these threatening emails? Are they going to weigh them? Are they going to, regardless of how serious they think that it still is a threat and therefore illegal to do to a federal judge? What's going to happen on this one? Is the law going to be followed? Are people going to be held accountable? I think you and I both know the answer to that one. I'm sure you do. I don't care about that article. Oh, cool. Look, another pop-up. Now, this is another article, much like the one that I ended on the last segment, talking about, you know, things favoring the left. This article is from Fox News Live. Andrew Sullivan rails against media narratives on Kyle Rittenhouse, Russiagate. They always favor the left, and they always do. They always seem to favor the left. So, guys, that's really all I got for the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. So we do have more things that we are going to get to. We still are going to be talking about Project Veritas, the Steele Dossier, CRT, the vax mandates. But before we go into all that, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break, just 1 minute, couple minutes, and I will be right back. This is the Ho Ho Show. Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you. Tide Pod brand colon cleanse. See, Tide Pod brand colon cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod brand colon cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, welcome back to the Ho Ho Show. So, guys, there is one article that I forgot to get in there. Dave put it in and he goes, excellent, I'm getting popcorn. You know, and that's the thing. Like, we are pushing an hour right now. We're like at 58 minutes over there on the Spreaker side of things, and we are sitting at, where are we at? Oh, we're just over an hour. Holy cow. But an hour just ain't enough whenever you've got so much stuff going on that you really got, you know, you just got a lot you got to cover. You know, an hour just doesn't cut it. This is going to, you know, take a little while, you know, maybe another half hour, you know, maybe. But I did forget to get into this headline from Axios: Wisconsin National Guard on standby at end of Rittenhouse trial. See, apparently, you know, they're thinking to have the, I believe, I know the prosecution rested a while back ago, you know, obviously before Kyle's testimony. And I don't think the defense really took that much time. I think they're pretty close to being done if they're not done already. And I think they are actually looking to have a verdict to be returned, you know, like Monday, I think, you know, or, you know, sometime over the weekend. I don't, you know, I'm not 100% sure on that. You know, I think they finished up on Friday, and I think they're looking to have a verdict by Monday. That's just, you know, if I heard things correctly and if I am remembering correctly. So, but this article from Axios is, you know, but basically it kind of sounds like no matter what, the, you know, and this is a sad thing, you know, I mean, it really is. And this really tells you all you need to know about the mindset of the left, because it's kind of come out already that regardless of how the trial lands, regardless of what actually happens, you're going to see riots. You know, if he is acquitted, if he is found not guilty, of course, they're going to be, mad that you have somebody whom, obviously, according to them, obviously broke the law, and if you have a guilty verdict come back, I mean, one, you're going to, they're going to immediately go into mistrial because, the prosecution is screwed up that much. There is definite grounds for a mistrial. But you're going to have riots of, celebration. So I mean, either way you look at it, you're probably going to have, whenever the verdict comes back, you're probably going to have riots. Either way you look at it, you're going to have riots. And it's sad that they have to call on the National Guard in order to do their best to maintain peace. But here's my thing, so what if you call up the National Guard? What's their orders going to be? Are they actually going to be able to stop whatever it is that's going on, or are they going to be forced to just stand there and be onlookers? Are they hoping that their mere presence keeps the wolves at bay? Is that what their intent is? Because if it is, I got news for you. It ain't going to work. This has already been proven to us through the summer of peace when all the riots were going on across most, major cities across the entire U.S. A lot of riots were going on, and whether there was National Guard or not, it really didn't seem to stop a lot of people from rioting. It really didn't. So moving on. We are now going to be getting into what had happened. Now, this article actually came out November 8th. Okay. But I tell you what, there's a lot to take note on with this story right here. Okay. With this set of stories. Okay. So let me do a little bit just to catch you guys up, just to get you guys up to speed about what had happened. Okay. Now, I think this was right around the same time frame of the famous, laptop of Hunter Biden, but there was also not just the Hunter Biden laptop, but there was a journal of Joe Biden's daughter that was somehow acquired. Okay. From my recollection of how the story goes, she was in some type of rehabilitation facility, what have you, and she was journaling, and that was one of the, things that she did, whether this was a continuation of journaling that she had already done, or whether this was something that she did only while she was there. I am not completely sure. Haven't really gotten into those kind of details on that. And to be honest with you, for the sake of what is important in this story, that isn't one of them. But she left said journal at the facility. Okay, she forgot it. She left it, what have you. Whatever reason, there you go. Now, this journal was given to, by whom I really don't know, but they were giving to James O'Keefe and, Project Veritas. And Project Veritas, one of the first things they tried to do was, one, they tried to verify that this was a genuine, journal from Joe Biden's daughter. Once they kind of figured out that it was, they tried to return it. And I don't know if this was before or after they really went through it and read it, but, they gave it, they tried to offer it to, Joe's daughter's lawyers, and the lawyers refused to take it. Okay. They didn't want anything to do with it. It was like, nope, we're not touching this. And of course, what the mainstream media did right away was, just like the Hunter laptop, it was, well, this journal doesn't exist. It's not, this whole thing's a lie. It's not her journal. She doesn't have a journal to lose in the first place. That this whole thing is a lie. This whole thing is just, trying to make the Biden family look bad. And that's exactly what the information, the stuff in this journal did. It wasn't, there wasn't, from my understanding, there wasn't any illegal activity that was talked about. However, there was information in here that really, 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 really made the Biden family look bad. Okay? No illegal activity, but definitely things that make you go, huh? Anywho, this was all stuff that kind of came out through Project Veritas's, validation process into this. Okay? So after their lawyers decided we don't want anything to do with this, and I believe this was even after the mainstream media and, social media was trying to convince the American people that this was a fake journal in the first place, Project Veritas tried to give this to authorities, tried to give it to police. Apparently to no avail, because what happened was, well, now we're actually getting into the articles. So this headline from, I almost started going into it without even getting into the headlines. Holy crap. I almost screwed that up completely. This headline from the American Spectator: Biden's FBI targets Project Veritas's James O'Keefe. Politicized Department of Justice turns from Virginia moms to journalists. This headline from Politico, and of course you're going to have a pop-up on the screen: FBI raid on Project Veritas's founder's home. I can read, really I can. Sparks questions about press freedom. This headline also from, and it's the same stinking thing, same picture. Holy cow, I got the same one in here twice. Let's get rid of that one. This headline from National Review. And this is where the real story is. So we're actually going to hold off on that one for a second. Let's head on back to, not that one. Get that one off the screen. The FBI targets Project Veritas's James O'Keefe. Now here's the thing, guys, okay? How is this journal of Joe Biden's daughter, how does this fall within the purview of the FBI? This to me screams that, this whole entire thing screams that this is a political move, a political hit piece, trying to silence somebody whom has been a figurative and, almost a literal thorn in the side of the left. To silence him, to, put him in his place, if you will. That's what this whole entire thing seems to me, because, a journal, it's really not clear exactly how Project Veritas got a hold of this journal, but either way you looked at it, whether it be before or after they read it, they tried to do the right thing, as in turn this thing over to her attorneys, and they didn't want anything to do with it. This really does look like some type of a political hit piece that the FBI was weaponized by the Biden administration to silence James O'Keefe and Project Veritas. That's what this looks like to me. Dave put in here, he goes, when Giuliani got raided, he tried to get rid of the Biden laptop and the FBI wouldn't take it. Exactly. The same thing there, because, you already had the narrative put in place that, that this isn't a genuine article. This isn't Hunter Biden's laptop. This whole entire thing is fake. The FBI didn't want to look like a complete bunch of idiots by going, oh, yes, we have to take this. Yes, we have to take this, but wait a second. I thought it was fake. I thought it was Russia propaganda. I thought this was something that, President Trump was doing to try to make Biden look bad. That's what I thought what was going on here. Now you're telling me that this whole entire thing is true? Absolutely. But here you go again. The FBI stepping in on something that isn't even within the purview. I mean, this is outside their jurisdiction. They're not supposed to be doing this. They don't have the authority to act here. Where's the crime that they're saying was even committed? Because that's what I'm actually kind of curious about, because I have not heard one thing on any type of a crime that they are accusing James O'Keefe or Project Veritas of doing. Not one single crime I'm hearing about. Nothing. The weaponization of the FBI to take down a political opponent, somebody whom is a journalist that makes the left look bad. They are trying to silence him. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down right here, guys? Somebody is being investigated by the FBI. James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, one of the last true journalists out there, one of the last true journalist organizations out there, and there's not many of them left. Basically turning into a political prisoner. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? Does this scare you yet? Let me go ahead and continue. The FBI raid, going into this Politico article, the FBI raid on Project Veritas's founders. Man, I really can't read right now. FBI. Let me do this slower so I can help myself out. FBI raid on Project Veritas founders' home sparks questions about press freedom. Aren't they supposed to have? Hit the mic. Sorry. Aren't they supposed to have a certain amount of freedom? Freedom of press. Now, here's the thing. They didn't actually print anything about this. They didn't. They got possession of it. They had it. They verified its authenticity, but they didn't actually release or do any stories about anything that they found out of what was in this journal. They didn't do anything with it. Nothing. So, I mean, you can't even get them for possibly, the illegal possession of a journal. But they said that they're not the ones that got it. It was given to them. And unless they had any suspicion or knowledge that this journal was, obtained illegally, then they've got no reason to question the validity of them having it. And like I said, none of that even matters because, it kind of does, but they didn't use the journal. They verified it. They went through it. It's like, there's nothing criminal in here. I mean, there's embarrassing things in here, sure, but there's nothing criminal. But they didn't use any of it. Now, from my understanding, there has been stuff getting leaked. Not from James O'Keefe. I'm not exactly sure where it comes from. But here's where the story really gets interesting. And here is where it really should terrify you on what's going on. And here is where it should also piss you off. Now, there has been some information because after this raid, the FBI was going through James O'Keefe's, personal cell phone, going through his personal information. In fact, it was so bad to the point to where they were ordered by a judge, cease and desist. Stop going through his personal information. You don't have the right to do this. They're going through correspondence between James O'Keefe and his lawyers. That is illegal. They can't do that. But here's what's been going on. Somebody from the FBI has been leaking this information to the New York Times. This headline from National Review. Now, this is, like I said, this is where it's getting interesting. The FBI and the New York Times collude against Project Veritas. Again, what the FBI is doing is illegal. They are leaking this information to the New York Times. Again, this is illegal. Forget about the freedom of speech. Forget about the freedom of press. Forget about what is actually going on here. Just look at that, and that should tick you off. That should scare you. That should give you cause for, I hope to God, that President Trump gets elected in 2024 and he dismantles the FBI. Yeah, I said it. Because that's what needs to happen. It doesn't matter what this organization used to be. They are showing their true colors today. It needs to be dismantled. It needs to be taken apart. You know, whenever the tree has roots that are poison, it cannot bear good fruit. Isn't that the parable of the fig tree in the Bible? Isn't that what it's talking about? Whenever you have corruption that runs so deep in the FBI, when it is being weaponized against political adversaries of the left, there's another word in there, I can't think of it right now, but whenever you have that going on, you need to dismantle it and get rid of it. You can't just fix it because the problems run so freaking deep. Guys, this is ridiculous. They need to be ordered. Didn't Comey leak to the Times too? James Comey? James Comey. Don't remember. Yeah, yes, actually he did. Yeah, he leaked to the Times. I don't remember off the top of my head what type of information it was. I don't know if it was... I don't remember the details of it, but yeah, he leaked information. But this is stuff that shouldn't be allowed to happen. And whenever this stuff does happen, basically what you're looking at here is the New York Times, they need to be subpoenaed to give up their sources. And these sources in the FBI, they need to be terminated. They need to be put in prison. That's just all there is to it. And the New York Times too, because here's the thing, you may have the freedom of press, but that doesn't give you the right to break the law. And that's exactly what the New York Times did by publishing this information, because they too broke the law. Just by publishing this information. Because here's one of the things that Project Veritas was doing, and this is one of the things of why they're pissed off at him. Okay, this is one of the reasons why. James O'Keefe was talking to his lawyers and apparently was getting told by his lawyers, don't print, don't do an article on any of this. Don't print anything from these journals. Don't release any of these journals. He was getting information from his lawyers that they were telling him cease and desist. Don't use any of it. You can put yourself, you can get in trouble for doing this. That's what it sounds like. And I word it like that and I say it like that because that seems to be what was going on here, is that his lawyers were telling him, no. Cease and desist. Don't do it. Don't release it. Don't leak it. Don't let it go nowhere. Just leave it be. You're going to put yourself in legal, you're going to put yourself in harm's way. You're going to be legally liable for what goes on here. Don't do it. The New York Times lawyers were doing the same thing for the New York Times. Don't do this. This is illegal. You can be held accountable. Don't do it. So you're talking the person who leaked the information not necessarily so much with the person that got it leaked to, but you're still talking the article got written, the article got published because the editor allowed it to go on the publication, on the newspaper, on the website, what have you. They allowed the information to go out there into the void. So you're talking several people, at least two. And who knows how many people are actually involved in this, from, underling to, senior editor and junior editor and, whomever the case may be. I mean, who knows how many people are actually, it's their hind end if something bad happens. But you're talking all these people that need to be getting fired, going to prison for breaking the law, because that's what they did. Make no mistake about it. Laws were broken. They were upfront and honest about it. And they're doing this like it's no big deal, like it's okay. Something about Hillary's emails just before the election of 2016. Oh, that's what he leaked. Okay. I got you. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. Yeah. This type of stuff, it really does tick me off, because people need to get fired. People need to go to prison. There needs to be some level of accountability. There really does. There really does. So let's go ahead and slide into this dossier. Now here's the thing, guys, because there has been, this is something that has been in and out of the news for quite some time. Okay. I'm not going to give you any type of information that we already haven't talked about. I mean, this is stuff that we already know is going on. This is stuff that we already know was a lie that was being told. We know that the Russia dossier, the Steele Dossier, we know that, Jared, isn't it really weird that we're taking about the President of the United States of America's daughter's diaries? That's funny. Yeah. Okay. That made me think of, the Princess Diaries. That's actually kind of where that, where my mind went on that one. That's actually kind of funny. Isn't it peculiar that somehow it's the topic of conversation anywhere? Seems like a major distraction tactic. You know what? You are absolutely right, Dave. Absolutely right. It does seem like a major distraction. So it just makes you wonder, what are they doing behind the scenes? Oh, okay. I got you. Talking about the president. Okay. I got you. Yeah. But you're absolutely right, Dave. I mean, it does seem like a huge distraction, something to take your mind off of something else, so you're not paying attention to what's really going on. This is the Kansas City Shuffle. Look over here so you're not paying attention of what's going on over here. That's a tactic that they like to do. They like to, distract you with stuff like this. They like to distract you with shoes and sales and what have you. Makes you kind of wonder what's actually going on and what they don't want you to see. But talking about this Steele Dossier, okay? Now, this is stuff that we've known already. We've talked about before. We know that this whole entire thing was Russia disinformation. What we have found out, though, is that 3 days before the FISA warrant was actually issued, that there was a meeting that was being done, a debriefing Obama, Biden, and Hillary were in this talking about it. Dave, you're exactly right. Take our minds off crime, gas prices, and everything bad that this president has caused. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. But these are some of the things that has been getting released, not that long ago. About this Steele Dossier, about, we already found out that this was paid for by Hillary Clinton through this organization, going to that organization, going over here. We know already that, I don't remember if it was the FBI or the CIA that removed whomever it was, CIA, the records of him being in the CIA, they changed a lot of different things. We know that, either they were stupid or incompetent to actually, that's nothing. Okay. But yeah, we know all this already. We know all this. But there's been some stuff that's been gotten released not that long ago. And this one is from Schiff's committee. This is something that Schiff said. Let me go ahead and show you this article. We couldn't have known about the lies behind the Steele Dossier. That's what Schiff is saying. Now, here's the thing. Okay? Here's the thing, guys. One, we're talking about the guy who said time and time again, I have rock solid evidence proving Trump's guilt in this Russia collusion. If he had it, why didn't he release it? Why didn't he give it to the FBI during this investigation? Why wasn't that rock solid proof? Why wasn't that actually given? And why wasn't he impeached over that if it was true? Fact of the matter is he lied because it was a political hit piece that was done. We couldn't have known about lies behind the Steele Dossier. Here's the thing. They did know. One, they chose to, act like those monkeys. Okay. The ones that, cover their eyes and, cover their ears and, they cover their mouth. Those monkeys. That's what the FBI decided to do whenever they got this Steele Dossier, whenever they got this information. They put all this information in this application for the FISA warrant. They put all the information in there, but they didn't vet the information whatsoever. And then 90 days after the fact, whenever they were going into the re-up, the second FISA warrant, that's whenever they were like, it kind of seems like there's some holes into this. None of this is really making any sense. Maybe we should, maybe we should address this. Maybe we should investigate this, or maybe we should find out if this is valid whatsoever. And it was only after the second FISA warrant that they were like, oh, this is nothing but lies. But by then it's too late. Now, here's the thing. They're obligated by law, as per the rules that are surrounding the use of the FISA warrants themselves. They're required by law to fully vet this information. That's why I think it was Comey. I could be wrong on this. Whomever the director of the FBI was at the time. That's why he has to sign on each and every FISA warrant for its authenticity, for its accuracy, showing and signing off on this has been vetted and is, to the best of my knowledge, true. That's why that line of questioning that was done in the Oversight Committee regarding these FISA warrants, that's why these lines of questioning were put into there, because fact of the matter is he didn't do his job. The Steele Dossier was not vetted. It wasn't researched. They stayed ignorant and oblivious because the fact of the matter is they didn't want to know. They wanted to do an investigation. And their hope was if they dig deep enough, because that's just the way things work in Washington. You spend any amount of time digging, you're going to find dirt. So that's what their hope was. That's what their goal was. We'll lie on this FISA application. We'll get the shovel. We'll spend a little bit of time digging. We'll get the dirt that will justify the FISA warrant. Well, after 90 days, they didn't find any dirt. After 90 days, they found nothing. So they had a second FISA warrant that they applied for, hoping that, maybe if we spend just a little bit more time digging, maybe we'll find dirt. They never did. They were so convinced that they were going to find it, but they didn't. How do we know this? Was he removed from office? No, he wasn't. Why wasn't he removed from office? Because the impeachment was a political stunt. Nancy Pelosi even admitted to it during the impeachment trials. During the impeachment, Nancy Pelosi admitted that this is nothing more than a political hack job. What did she say that proves that? Impeachment is what we say it is. That's what she said. And I believe it was actually said by her and Schiff, both. Impeachment is what we say it is. It doesn't have to be high crimes and misdemeanors. It doesn't have to be bribery. Doesn't matter. Impeachment is what we say it is. We don't like President Trump being in the Oval Office. We're going to impeach him. We're just going to make something up. We're going to take the spaghetti noodles and we're just going to throw it in the wall because eventually we'll find something and it'll stick. But it never did. And that's what happened. All right, moving on. So there was the Steele Dossier. Let's talk a little bit about, let's go ahead and take one more quick break, and then we will finish up by touching base on CRT, that is critical race theory. We will also touch base on the vax mandates, going to be talking about, the mass exodus from work, people that are going to be walking out on the job, people that have already walked out on the job, strikes that have been going on, all because people just don't think these this vaccine mandate is a very good thing to do. It's not a good direction to go. So just a couple minutes, guys. I will be right back, and we will end it in the next segment. This is the Ho Ho Show. No going away. Do you work at any of the myriad of jobs where you might have to sit on your bum all day? Well, if so, maybe you know what it's like to suffer from the condition known as swamp ass. Well, if so, have I got the solution for you.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
That's right.
Anti-monkey butt powder.
You can use it indoors, outdoors, work or play, or on any occasion when you sit on your bum all day. Don't let your buns get red. Use anti-monkey butt powder instead. Available wherever anti-friction powder is sold. All right, welcome back to the Ho-Ho Show. So guys, all right, we're going to talk a little bit about this whole critical race theory right quick, and then we're going to slide into some of the vax mandate stuff. Now, there is a lot of articles that I have regarding the vax mandate stuff, but I'm not going to be, going deep into all of these because they all pretty well paint the same picture. So there's no need to go into all of them. Okay, but there is some stuff going on. There is some pushback going on. But first, let's talk about this article from... Okay, so I guess this is something Sean Hannity put out. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, I got to press that, get there, and get over to that, and press this. Just in... North Dakota lawmakers pass a bill banning critical race theory in schools. This is from the Hannity staff, the Sean Hannity show. This was put out there on November 12th of 2021. Now, here's the thing, okay? The left would try to have you believe the critical race theory is a myth. It's like Chupacabra. It's like Sasquatch. It's like Bigfoot, But as Alex Exum found out several years ago that, yes, there is a Sasquatch. It is real. But they were trying to tell you that, no, that critical race theory isn't even a thing. But the problem is, while they're telling you that, no, critical race theory is a myth, the Mythbusters got out there and they said, look, here's you guys' website. It clearly states and uses even the verbiage, critical race theory. It's right there. Your own website. There it is, critical race theory, right there. So how can you argue that the left using the critical race theory as a myth whenever it's right there on your website? Now, granted, you may have changed the name in the school by trying to call it something different, but on your website, it still clearly says critical race theory. Now, here's the thing, guys. Okay, there's two things I like to throw out there whenever I'm talking about anything and the left trying to do the whole redefining something. Okay, there's two things I like to throw out there. And that is a saying of, a rose by any other name still smells as sweet. That's one of the sayings I like to throw out there. And another one is talking about a duck. If it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it swims like a duck, it's a freaking duck. In other words, there are things that are defined a certain way. And I don't care what you want to call it. It doesn't change what it is. Kind of goes with the whole gain of function research. Dr. Fauci wanting to redefine gain of function research to fit his narrative. But it's like, dude, this is, it is defined and it is called what it is. This is a duck. Gain of function. What did you do to the virus? You gained a function. It's a duck. It's a rose. it's pretty clear. You can't just call something different or try to redefine something because it becomes unpopular, and it just doesn't work like that. That's the bottom line. It just doesn't work like that. But they're getting pushback on this critical race theory. They're getting a lot of pushback. Now, again, this is one of them things that, the unintended consequence that came with the pandemic, with the COVID shutdown, because, with shutting down the schools, it forced parents to pay attention to what their kids were being taught in school. Wait, let me rephrase that, because that's not exactly accurate, because it didn't force parents to start paying attention. It allowed them to start paying attention. It put the parents right smack dab in the middle of the classroom, and they really didn't think about this whenever they started doing remote learning. Because the more parents started paying attention to what was going on in the classroom, the more they started to hear some of the crap that their children were being taught, the more they had to say about what they were getting taught, the more there was some pushback on the curriculum. Unintended consequence that I really don't think that, the left really took into consideration whenever they were doing the whole shutting down of schools. If they would have went by way of the dodo bird, and by the dodo bird, I mean people who were actually intelligent enough to use the information the way that it was actually out there, instead of shutting down the schools, they would have still allowed the children to be going to school, because they are at the lowest possible risk for sickness and death. If they just would have let them go to school, then we would never know about a lot of this, because it wouldn't have been thrown in our face the way that it was. Because that's more or less what happened. Critical race theory, some of the other stuff that's getting thrown in there. So they're calling it a different name. They're trying to tell you, and this is the thing too. Now here's the thing. I have no problem with children being taught about our history. But let's be honest about it when we're talking about the racist history in America. Let's be honest about it. Can we be honest? Can we remind the people who write the history books that it was the Democrat Party who was opposed to desegregation. It was the Democrat Party that was opposed to, well, let's just be honest, all of this crap. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, it was the Democrat Party that stood against it. It wasn't the Republican Party. It was the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is the party of the KKK. It's the party of racism. Can we teach this in history books? Because it's true. Instead, they want to teach a version of history that doesn't have anything to do with history. Instead, it's about oppressors and victims. And that's where my problem is with critical race theory. It ain't got anything to do with truth. It ain't got anything to do with history. They're telling me that because I'm white, let's just put it is, but let's put it in the way that it is, that they're putting it, that your 5-year-old child in kindergarten is evil because he's white. That he is an oppressor because he's white. And another child, that he is a victim, that he has been oppressed that he doesn't have to try as hard as anybody else because of the lot in life that he was given just by the color of his skin. That's what they're teaching our children. Is it disgusting? Absolutely. Is it racist? Absolutely. Should it be stopped? Absolutely. But that's what we're teaching our kids. That you are nothing outside of the color of your skin. Doesn't this go directly against the teachings of Martin Luther King Jr., who had a dream of a colorblind society? Absolutely, I'm paraphrasing that because I don't know the man's entire speech, but that's what he's saying, though. He had a dream that a person would be judged not by the color of his skin, but by the quality of his character. I'm paraphrasing that because I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it ain't got nothing to do with color. It's a colorblind society. Colorblind society. You know, and I don't know about you guys, and I'm sure a lot of you out there feel the exact same way I do when it comes right down to it, when it comes down to race. I don't care the color of your skin. It makes no never mind to be. I don't care. Black, brown, yellow, blue, green, I don't care. Actually, if you're blue, you better not be a Smurf. I don't know how I feel about Smurfs. You know, they were just kind of weird watching them on cartoons. I don't know. But, you know, it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter. And I'm sure I'm not of the minority. I'm sure I am within the same, you know, frame of mind that most people are out there. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It just doesn't matter. Even if God from heaven above come down, pointed his hand to our side of the field, even if every man, woman, and child held hands together, and never mind. It's a quote from a movie. What movie was that? I don't know. It was a Bill Murray movie, I believe. Excellent movie. It was hilarious. Anyway. It doesn't matter. That's the point. It just doesn't matter. We're going to move on from this. Most people, if not 99% of people, don't care. I agree. Yeah. You know, like I said, Dave, and you know, I'm glad you agree, and I figured you did. You know, most people just don't care. You know, me, even coming from small town, you know, Midwestern America, you know, small town Illinois, in a, you know, I don't want to say we are a diverse community, you know, because we are overwhelmingly white, but we still have within our town, within our community, you know, virtually all races represented here. You know, Mexican, Black, Asian, you know, Middle Eastern, you know, they're here. You know, I know, talk to, and go into their businesses of a lot of different, you know, races out there. I don't care any of them. You know, there was one job I worked. I worked as and this is like my second job that I worked. I worked at a, you know, one of the, you know, more popular grocery chains in my hometown, County Market. It's since gone out of business, but, you know, they were one of the big ones. And, you know, there was a guy from a Chinese restaurant, and he didn't speak the best English. He really didn't. You know, he tried, you know, but he didn't speak the best English. And once or twice a week, he would come into the store, and, you know, he would buy he would buy the fresh vegetables and whatnot for, you know, their cooking. You know, he would go in there, he would do that. And I took the time to understand him, to try to pick up what he was throwing down, so this way I can help him and assist him in getting the things that he was needing for, you know, his business, his job. You know, there were times that he would come in and he would search me out. You know, he would look for me. You know, but that was the thing, though. I mean, I cared. You know, here's a guy who's, you know, just trying to make things happen, who doesn't speak very good English, and I wanted to be able to help him out. So I took the time to understand him not that I could speak his language, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't speak Mandarin, I don't speak Cantonese or whatever it is that he spoke. I don't speak that. But, we were able to communicate well enough that I could pick up what he was throwing down and I could assist him. Some people out there just don't care. But the point is, even for being a small community that I lived in, we were still represented on every race, and it didn't matter the color of your skin. It was about what kind of person you were. He was a good person. That's what it's about, and like Dave said in the chat, most people, if not 99% of people, don't care about your race, about the color of your skin. I know I don't, but moving on, because we are going to be touching base a little bit on this pop-up. Absolutely. We're going to be talking about these vax orders. Okay, the vaccine mandates, and we're just going to be covering this kind of quickly. We only got about 10 minutes left. This article from the Daily Wire, this is actually from Daily Wire Presents Backstage. Okay, let me make sure that is off. It is. Let's get into there we go. Daily Wire petition against Biden vax order hits 500,000 signatures. That is amazing. And it reached 500,000 signatures on Friday. Here's what happened, guys, just in case you are not aware. Just as soon as this vaccine order hit, which this is the vaccine order that demands that every business through OSHA, which is Occupational Health and Safety Administration. Yeah. That every person of a business of 100 employees or more had to have every employee vaccinated, or, now this was a stipulation that they put in the beginning, but I think they were talking about rolling back this stipulation to where, you had to get tested. Originally I believe it was, you either had to get the shot, had to be fully vaccinated, which meant, unless you were getting the Johnson & Johnson shot, which was a one-shot shot, yeah, you had to not only get the vaccine shot, but you had to get whatever boosters went along with it. And the only one that didn't have any boosters was the Johnson & Johnson. Okay. The Johnson & Johnson. So if you had 100 employees or more, every employee had to be vaccinated or get tested once a week. And I think they were upping that. Last time I heard that they were talking about doing that like every other day or every day, something stupid, something ridiculous. Now, here's the thing, though, too. And this was a part that I thought was absolutely infuriating, because they tried to tell the employers that, if you're going to opt out of the vaccine, that's fine. But you have to get tested. And the company that they work for is not responsible to pay for those tests. Their reason being was that you don't have to pay for the vaccine. Therefore, why should the business be forced to pay for the testing? And of which case, I'm like, excuse me? Baking powder? Excuse me, beg your pardon? Excuse me, baking powder? I do have to pay for that vaccine. Several times over, actually. Because all of these vaccines were paid for out of my pocket. Taxpayer dollars. Not just all the vaccines that were distributed in the United States of America, but all of the vaccines that America decided to go ahead and fund the vaccinations that went to other countries by the millions. So yeah, I probably paid for at least 5 vaccination shots. At least. I am a taxpayer, doggone it. This isn't free. There's no such thing as free in America. Why do people not understand that? Here's the thing, guys. If you want to talk about free, I want you to remember one thing. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to do you a favor, and I want you to remember one thing. I want you to remember, take a drink of coffee. That's what I want you to remember. And once you get done taking that drink of coffee, I want you to remember the mouse in the mousetrap. He never questioned why the cheese was free. Do you still think it's free? Or do you think there's a hidden price? One, if it's being paid for through tax dollars, it's not free. You're still going to pay for it. You're still going to pay for it. So yeah, I shouldn't have to pay for the testing. This is an illegal, unconstitutional mandate by the dictator of the Biden administration, Joe Biden. That's all this is. He doesn't have the right or authority to mandate to me what I'm going to put in my body. Oh, but there's other vaccines that you got to take, ho. I mean, come on now. You can't possibly. No. Okay, one, shut up. You're just looking like an idiot. Okay, one, this isn't a vaccine, this is a shot. And two, with some of the other vaccines out there, I forget which one, it might have been smallpox that I was actually reading about. Smallpox has a 30% mortality rate, and even whenever they were requiring people to get the smallpox vaccine, if you got smallpox and you lived to tell the tale, they didn't require you to get the vaccine after that. They kind of put it at bay. Why? Because you have this thing called natural immunity. Not only the natural immunity, the antibodies that swim across in your bloodstream, not only do you have that, you have T cells in your body that in case it comes back, it's going to remember. And if these T cells somehow go dormant, you also have this thing called marrow in your bones. And these things have a memory that you wouldn't believe how long it is. And if it comes back to your body, it's going to be like, I know what this is. You know, this is code. This is a codec. You know, I know how to read this. I can fight this. No worries, man. I got this. Don't even sweat it. You know, you might be sick for a little bit. You might have a day or two of discomfort, but you ain't going to die. You ain't going to go to the hospital. Why? Because we've been created magnificently. Our bodies were designed to heal and get better. And if you take care of that machine, you're going to be fine. Gee, where have I heard that one before? If you're a healthy indivisible, you ain't got nothing to worry about with the COVIDs. If you have comorbid health conditions, you may want to consider protecting yourself. There's a headline that I ignored earlier, but since I kind of walked myself right into it, let's go ahead and talk about it right quick. Let me scroll on up to this. This headline from Insider. A Washington lawmaker said he's in El Salvador with a bad bout of COVID-19 and asked his colleagues to send him, are you ready for this? Monoclonal antibody treatments. He's not asking, ladies and gentlemen, he's not asking for the vaccine. He ain't asking for the new wonderful pill that they've been talking about. He's not asking for that. What's he asking for? The monoclonal antibody treatments. See, here's the thing that they're not wanting to talk about, because if they do talk about it, if they do acknowledge that there are treatments out there that work, that these emergency FDA approvals are null and void, that you can't have emergency use approval if you have treatments that work. That's the thing. That's why they don't want to talk about monoclonal antibody treatments. That's why they don't want to talk about vitamin D, zinc, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin. That's why they don't want to talk about these, because if they did, if they actually allowed these studies to go mainstream instead of shutting them up anytime anybody wants to talk about it and banning people that do talk about it, then they would have to acknowledge that there's no need for emergency use on these shots. There was an article, and this again, this is, no thanks, get off of there. I don't want you. Get away. There's another very telling story, and we're going to end it here because we're 2 hours into this. Nope, that's not it. Okay, here it is. This article from GMA, I have no idea. ABC News. This article from ABC News, and we're going to end it here. Unvaccinated Americans contributing to uptick in cases. The 107 million unvaccinated Americans are contributing to 22 states, seeing a daily case uptick of 10% as temperatures drop. Now, here's the thing, and I want you guys to pay attention to this. You see, they have, whenever this was released, okay? This went out yesterday, November 12th, 2021. However, this is an argument that has been getting made for a while in the left, talking about putting down and dealing with people on the right that refuse to get the shot. It ain't no stinking vaccine. But here's one of the things that they've been talking about. You see, people from these various organizations that don't want to vaccine, that regardless of how they feel about the vaccine, they still believe that you as an individual, as a free American, has the right to choose whether or not you are going to get the vaccine based off of a conversation that you have with your healthcare provider that the government should butt out. And what did they do? They went to the CDC and they asked the CDC, they went, CDC, if you've had the COVIDs and you got better from the COVIDs, how many cases can you track? You know, because they're doing the case tracking. You know, how many cases can you track to an unvaccinated person who spread the COVIDs? And the CDC came back and they said, none. Did you hear what I said? One, don't take my word for it. Go to the CDC. Look up the information. It's released. You can find it. You can see it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. But the question was, with unvaccinated people whom has already had the COVIDs, who have the natural antibodies, which is over 700% better than any type of antibodies you are going to get from the vaccine, and that last longer. After 5 months, these shots that they give people have an efficacy rate that drops down to like 20% and below. And they're going to say that this is good? No. Why do you think they're doing boosters? Because they suck. Why do you think they're doing a huge push right now before winter really hits, before fall is over? Why do you think they're doing a huge push for people to get the booster shot? Because they know that the vaccine is junk. They call it a vaccine. They know it's not. It's junk. They know this. It doesn't work. It doesn't actually help people. It's a vaccine, or so they call it. But beside that, If I've had the COVIDs, I got better. I have the antibodies. And let's say I even get sick again. Let's say I get a test that says I've had it. You guys do tracing. How many cases can you contribute to the unvaccinated people that's already been sick and has gotten sick again to actually spreading the virus? And they said none, zero, zilch, not anybody. So here they are, spreading lies on the left to advance a narrative. Why? Because they want everybody to get the vaccine. Why? Because these companies like Moderna, like Johnson & Johnson, like who's some of the other companies out there that have made vaccines? I don't even remember. They've given these lawmakers money and a buttload of it. They have lined these politicians' pockets with money because they're the ones that can make or break the company. Look up, okay? And if you go into, what's some of the E-Trade, I think, any online trading company, look up the stock market price of these companies that have, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, those are the three companies. Look up the stock market prices of these companies. Let me know what you see. Go online. Do you think these things are free, or do you think that they've gotten a butt ton of money? And then look at the efficacy rate. Look at the science that's been put into this with the efficacy rate of these so-called vaccines. Ooh, I got a chat over here. Hello, Dave, over there in Spreaker. I appreciate that, sir. I really do. He says, you're on fire tonight. Excellent, excellent show. I appreciate that. I really do. I greatly appreciate that. But that's the thing, guys. Okay? Now, look, I'm not going to say I'm anti-vax. I'm not going to say I'm for vax. I mean, if you are, over the age of 50, if you have underlying health conditions, consult your doctor. Maybe getting the shot is the absolute best thing for you. But it ain't for me to decide. And it sure as hell isn't for the government to decide. Because they are overstepping their constitutional authority by trying to demand, by taking away your livelihood if you don't submit, if you don't comply, that they're going to take away everything from you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is just unacceptable. And you have companies like the Daily Wire, and you have other people standing in the way as well. You have Florida, I believe, has a lawsuit against the Biden administration. I think you have several different states that are standing in the void. They are standing in the way of standing between you and Trump. Wow, I almost said Trump. No, you and Biden saying, no, you can't do this. And the funny thing is, you have these judges that are going, you know what, you're right. We are going to put a hold on this vaccine mandate, and we are going to put this up for review. So they're telling them, telling the Biden administration, cease and desist. We're putting a temporary hold on this. You don't have the right to kick anybody out of their job if they don't want to get vaccinated at this particular point in time. We are going to review this. We are going to, consider the constitutionality of this. And until we give you a ruling, cease and desist. And what do you have? You have the Biden administration, people that are in there that are going, we don't care what you say. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. And now is what you have is you have stories out there right now of OSHA going, we don't have the manpower to go from business to business and police everybody. So what we're going to do is we're going to hire you, Karen. We're going to hire you. And we want you to be the best Karen that you can be. So if you see somebody that isn't vaccinated, you ask for their vaccine card, you ask for that, you see it, turn them in. And we'll take care of it from there. Really? Like that could possibly go bad. Dave put in there, he goes, I saw a Facebook post earlier. I should have screenshotted it. Basically, it said, if the government and Big Pharma really wants to save lives, why not give out free chemotherapy and cancer medicine? There's a lot of children who need the medicine. Absolutely. You know, you're absolutely right. Because, you know, it's not about saving people's lives. It's really not. Yes, I will do that Massacre 420. I'll absolutely check that as soon as I get the chance. I'm actually almost done. But yeah, you know, it's not about saving lives. You know, and Dave, you got a point. You know, I mean, it's amazing how you have, you know, you have drugs for people whom are, you know, addicts that are given, paid for by the taxpayer to people whom are addicts. And yet you have life-saving drugs to people whom are sick by no fault of their own that have to pay for it out of pocket. You know, now look, I mean, I'm all about saving lives. But you know what? If you're going to have a policy like that, it makes no sense. Get rid of the policy. You know, get rid of policy. All right, guys, that is all I got for you today. You know, that is it. 2 hours into this one. Holy crap, it's been a long one. But you know what? You know, it's a pretty solid show. I do appreciate y'all's tuning in and being part of the show. I do appreciate y'all's taking time out of your day to make me part of yours. It really does mean a lot to me. Oh, well, you know what? Let me go ahead and take a look at my phone. My Massacre 420 says it's relevant to the show, actually, and what you are talking about, natural immunity. Let me go ahead and take a look at it. That's awesome, by the way, Dave. That's... I appreciate that, sir. What? Oh, there we go. That's where I'm looking at. I always missed that. I always seem to miss those little Facebook or the pop-ups. You know, for the Facebook Messenger on my phone. It always seems to be in weird spots. You know, so this was sent to me on my phones. So this one, the headline is from BBC Future, it looks like. The people with hidden immunity against the COVID-19. Let me just go ahead and read you this. Okay. While the latest research suggests that antibodies against COVID-19 could be lost in just 3 months, a new hope has appeared on the horizon. The enigmatic, holy crap, the enigmatic, there we go. I can read, guys. I really can. T cell. Because that's one of the things I was talking about earlier to guys, is the that's the T cells, okay? Because here's the thing, there was a time, okay? There was a time, well, let's just put it to you like this, okay? Y'all have email, right? Y'all use your email, okay? Your antibodies is like things that come into your inbox, okay? All right? Whenever you get something, your body figures out how to fight it off, okay? And whenever it gets whenever it gets the information to be able to stop it, to be able to fight it, to be able to, get you to where you are no longer sick, that's called the antibodies, okay? Now, but here's the thing though, antibodies only last so long in your bloodstream, okay? It's kind of like your junk folder, Okay, it only lasts so long. After a while, they filter out and they go bye-bye. But here's the thing, though. You see, your body just doesn't allow it to stick around in your inbox, okay? It puts it in a file folder called your T cells. That's what your T cells are, okay? That means that if you get another of that virus, that, if you get that, well, then it's got that information in there. You can type in on the search bar and say, this is what I got. And then everything in your body comes up and it does that, that best guess match, whatever. And it goes, yes, we've seen this virus before. Let me go ahead and, bring this back and put this back in your inbox. And this way your body can make the antibodies, and there you go, you'll get done. And then there's also this thing called your bone marrow, like what I was talking about earlier. That's kind of like the archive of your body. Okay, that's the hard record in your body. Okay, because once it goes from, so long, the antibodies filter out of your blood, the T cells maybe filter out of your blood, but your body has an archive. And that archive is literally bone deep. And if it goes so long, it's still in your archive. It's still in your bone deep marrow, that your body can still, upon getting reintroduced to this virus, it can still go, archive, okay, I'm going into the archive. Yep, I've seen you before. I can fight you. Let me go ahead and get this down to the, let's go ahead and get this down to the production floor, and we will build this car, and we will get this taken care of, and we'll get this thing fought. That's what your body does. Your body's amazing, guys. I don't know if you're aware of this, but our bodies are amazing on that. And thank you very much for that article. I greatly appreciate it. I really do. That's a better article. I will put that article into the show notes for today. And if you guys want any of the other, take a look at the other articles, because there are still even more articles in the magazine on Flipboard that I did not go to. You guys can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, and there you will see the magazine on Flipboard. That is my go-to hub, my one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news. You can see all of those, and I will have this article put up in there as well. Again, thank you, sir, for sending that to me. I do appreciate it. All right, guys, I do thank you very much. Now that, we're into this for 2 hours and 17 minutes. And thank you very much, Dave, putting in there. He goes, great show. Wow, I will remember this one. I greatly appreciate it, sir. I really do. So y'all have yourself a great one. I appreciate y'all stopping by. Good night, sleep tight, and if the bed bugs bite, well, by golly, bite them back. This has been The Ho Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.